as promised, I will be doing a halfway point reflection piece on my marathon training so far. So let's get right into it. How do I feel about my overall progress so far on the training program? Well, I think if there was a scale of not impressed at all or not satisfied to very satisfied, I'm somewhere in the middle, if anything, just under the middle. I think I'm satisfied with the fact that I'm still here. As someone who has never ran a marathon or any race for that matter, to still be alive 8 weeks in, I think is something to be content about. However, why I put the slightly below score is just because performance-wise or speed-wise, I'm not really where I want to be. So today I did my 3 sets of 20 minutes at goal marathon pace, and it was pretty hard. And considering the fact that I'm supposed to be running that pace as a minimum for the entirety of the race. If I want to do sub 3:30, I have to be 8 minutes per mile or lower, or conversely in kilometers, 5 minutes per kilometer or lower. And the fact that I was struggling to even keep up with that for 60 minutes is a little bit concerning, but it's a good thing to keep me in check for how I should be going forward. So those are my thoughts overall on my performance so far. What are some of the physical changes I've noticed since starting this program? So for me, I've definitely lost a lot of weight, particularly in my upper body. My upper body mass has been significantly smaller, just because I'm really training legs at the gym and nothing else. So I've kind of neglected any upper body strength training and whatnot, so naturally I've lost a lot of weight. My overall weight hasn't changed too much. I'm still hovering around like 197, 198. I think ideally I'd like to be 190 or lower for the actual race, just because I actually do notice a difference between running when I'm a bit heavier versus running when I'm a bit lighter. On my last long runs, the 2 hour 15 versions, I've lost like 5 pounds at least, before and after. So, I do sweat a lot. So that's where a lot of the weight reduction is coming from. But, in terms of overall physical change, it's really upper body mass, and I guess my lower body has gotten stronger. Something that people always ask me is, how do I manage my recovery for this program? So recovery isn't really it's a big thing, but it's more of a thing that I focus on after my long runs. So after my regular runs throughout the week, so whether it's an easy run or a speed training day, I'll do typical like stretching and massage gun. But after a long run session, I do a lot more. So I'm doing foam rolling, I'm doing massage gun, I'm doing stretching, I'm trying to massage myself. I go into the ice bath for longer. My diet is a lot more geared towards recovery. So I've introduced bone broth around the time that I do my long run, so before and after, just to help with my joint. And then I eat a lot more just to make sure my muscles are well equipped to recover. Basically anything to do with reducing inflammation and joint stuff. So been drinking a lot more milk, so that's that. And trying to get good sleep, good amount of water. So those are the things that I really try to pay attention to when I try to actively recover from a long run. And I don't think that's going to change too much. If anything, I'll probably just add it a little bit more here and there. Similarly to my diet, nothing really has changed drastically, besides like around the time that I do my long run. So like I said, a lot more milk. Bone broth has been pretty good. But just trying to reduce, I think it's halfway through and I need to really dial in on the diet part. So trying to reduce as much like processed sugars and carbs. When I get to the race day week, I'm going to be carb loading 3 to 4 days out. I'm just going to be eating like pasta, rice, fruits, and whatnot. And I've already talked about what I want to be doing the day of, like the morning of. So I was trying to just stick to like really simple things, like fruits and whatnot. I am such a big sweet tooth guy, so I love like candy and gummies and, you know, pastries and whatnot. So it's obviously really hard. But if I'm trying to lose weight too, like that's something that I'm gonna have to commit to. Something that one of my friends had asked was what goes on in my mind when I run. And to be honest, like I'm so just like dialed into one thing. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be anything particular. So for instance, I let my mind just get to Squid Game, which is what I was watching earlier today for my long run. But obviously that's not going to be what's going to happen for the real race. So I'll describe, you know, the conditions when I'm blasting music. Really it's a lot of just like motivation for myself. Sometimes the thoughts that go through my head, I just say it out loud, like, and I probably look like a crazy person to someone on the street where, you know, like someone is just running by, just like saying out loud like, oh, you got this all you, one more kilometer, one more mile, 1 foot after the other. And it's kind of I don't know, it helps. It's like a reinforcing thought. And then a lot of the times, if I'm really going through it, I like to think of, you know, why I'm doing this. You know, the people that are in my camp that think about trying to, you know, show up for them, right? Even though it's not like anything that they've asked for, but that's like also one of the like things that I think about when I'm deep into it and I'm like really low in motivation. And then like, yeah, finally, like it's for me and me only. Like nobody has asked me to do this. And so it's a battle between me and myself. And so I like to just really push myself by asking myself like, oh, like you thought you were made for this? Like, and obviously like it pushes me to go farther because I'm basically betting on myself against myself. And yeah, I like to position myself to be, you know, the main character in my own movie. A lot of the times I'm listening to movie soundtracks, and so I feel, you know, if I immerse myself in that environment where the music is just blasting in my ears, and it's like really, really hype, I gain a really big sense of motivation to push through. And so yeah, that's in a nutshell where my mind goes when I run. Have I encountered any unexpected obstacles or challenges during training? And I think it goes along with my next question, which is how do I balance training with other commitments in my life? So as far as like unexpected things, I didn't realize, at least with this program, just how much time and energy this would take away from my schedule. I had so many different things I wanted to do at the same time. So like piano, for instance. But this has really just taken up my entire life. That's an exaggeration, but consider, 6 days a week. And even on that day that you're not running, you're like actively recovering because you're so sore. But each day you're committing at least like an hour. Obviously you're probably running for 30 to 40 of it, but there's like the 20 minutes to get ready and stretch and whatnot, and recovery and whatnot. And then also my long runs on Sunday, they're 2 to 3 hours. And basically for the rest of my day, I'm just spending it to recover, like my ice bath, my stretching, my massage gun, foam rolling, etc. So it's definitely a big time sink. I think that's the big unexpected thing. I would say as far as obstacles go, weather has been really challenging just because it's raining a lot here in Halifax. So I don't get the chance to run outside as much, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because a benefit to running on the treadmill is that I get to set my speed and force myself to run at that speed. Whereas if I'm outside, I'm just checking my watch every now and then, I can cheat a little, right? So that is one thing that I wish, it's going to disappear as the months progress. Like, it's March right now, end of March. April's just around the corner. So hopefully these snowy and rainy days no longer are an obstacle. As far as like time commitment, as I mentioned earlier, it's taken up a lot more than I'd like. But that's also me, who I like to kind of all in. So if I didn't take it as seriously, I could definitely see myself doing a lot more other things. But, because I'm dialed into this training, it has obviously reflected in like the scheduling part of my life too. I forgot to mention this as part of things that I didn't know, or I guess like things that I learned. I learned that I can chafe. I've never chafed in my life, ever. Like, I played football, a lot of the football guys chafed, but like nipple chafing, like groin chafing is a real thing. And it's a real problem. I don't really know. I mean, I got Aquaphor, which is like really heavy duty, like industrial grade, I would say, solution. Just put it on my nipples and hope that I don't bleed. I've seen people use like X-tape. So we'll see if that is an option that I have to exercise. But the first time it happened, it was crazy. Like, I just showered and it felt like acid was just dripping down my body, and like I checked later and like I had a tissue, my nipples were bleeding. So it's a real problem. So maybe on race day I just go shirtless and it won't be an issue. But yeah, the surface just, in contact with it just is not fun after a while. And I've never had that issue, like I said. So we'll see what happens. But that is another lesson learned. Another thing is if I've noticed any changes to my mental or physical well-being. So at least for my physical, I feel like it goes without saying I've seen an improvement. On my watch, or I guess like conversely on my phone, I can see my VO2 max, and obviously it's like not supposed to be like super accurate. So I'm not holding it to any, particular degree of precision, but it's the overall trend in itself. So when you see, like around the time that I started playing soccer or started running, my VO2 max has vastly improved since then. So I feel like in that regard, it's kind of rewarding to see the hard work kind of pay off for my physical health. Mentally, I feel like this has done a really good job at building my discipline. I don't think I've ever, committed myself to something like this in a long time. And what I mean by that is typically in moments where I really need to push myself like I am now, there's always been a companion that's been there to help push me to what I think I can accomplish. So for instance, when I used to play football, having a coach that is really, really hard on you has always been a really good thing for me. And I've had, the pleasure of having amazing coaches in my life who have really pushed me beyond my limits and helped me discover that I can actually do more. What's one more rep? What's one more, push? Just give me one more. That is falling on the responsibility for me. So that I bear that responsibility. And obviously, when you are the person that is your coach, it's a lot easier for you to be forgiving. So in that regard, I feel like mentally I've definitely gained a lot of like resilience and grit, pushing myself on the days that I don't want to. Like this week, it was really, really hard for me to just mentally be there. Like I just didn't want to run at all. But I did. And, I think I said it earlier, but it was Huberman, I think, with on the episode with David Goggins, where he said that when you do things that you don't want to, there's a part of your brain that is growing like a muscle that you train. But if you change your perception of that activity, say you didn't really want to wake up and go to the gym. Initially, if you hated that thing and you did it, that part of your brain grows. But over time, if you find pleasure out of doing that thing, that part of your brain isn't growing. Maybe nearly as much, but I don't think the effect is nearly the same. So there's something to be said about wiring your brain to do things that you don't like, and that part of your brain growing. Now, does that push me? Not really, but like that fact alone, not really. But it's good to know, at least apparently, that the things that I'm doing is helping me develop some sort of resilience and discipline. So, yeah, I think both physically and mentally, I've seen a lot of positive growth and improvement. And I think for me, the biggest thing will be, this concept of delayed gratification. So obviously, let's say 100-meter race versus a marathon. In that 100-meter race, because, if you're an Olympic athlete, you're anywhere from 9-12 seconds, and it's done. It's done fairly quickly, but in a race, it's kind of like the journey. Now, obviously, that's no disrespect to short distance runners. The journey concept can be applied into the training. As I mentioned earlier, it's very... I need to be reminded of the fact that all the work happens behind the scenes. Come race day or the event or whatever in life that you have to show up, nothing else matters. It's just you showing up that day. All the work has already been put in. There's nothing really that you can change on the day of. You just got to show up and show out. And so constantly reminding myself of the fact that the work happens beforehand, and the day of, you just do it, is kind of putting it towards the category of delayed gratification. So mentally, I think that will be very rewarding at the end of this to look back on, say, something like this video, to see where I was at before and hopefully be proud of what I was able to, what I am able to do in the future. Final-ish question, maybe. How do I stay motivated? I think I've talked about that a little bit, but basically, it's just reminding myself I'm doing this for me and me only. No one has asked me to do it, and I really want to prove it to myself. That I can do this, and that I'm built for this. If I put my mind and grind to it, I can do it. Literally, as a wise woman once said, if you put your mind to it, your grind to it, you can do it.
Put your mind to it. Put your grind to it. And you can do it.
And I've always been one to really kind of prove to myself and push myself to show me that I still got it. So that's kind of like the overlying motivation. And then one final thing as a reflection piece is, what do I know now that I didn't before? And going forward, what do I want to change? So I think I've already talked about the time commitment as something I didn't know before. I think speed workouts are very important. I think those ones I probably should be putting more emphasis into. Really just testing myself at goal marathon pace and faster, because that's where it's like the quote, you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And so pushing myself beyond that threshold is something that I really want to focus on going forward. Diet, like I said, I want to change it up so that I can lose weight, and also mimic what I am going to be eating as closely as I can to around the time that I am racing. Training, I want to start incorporating more upper body, just so that it's not fully gone. I think all around training is probably important, physically and mentally. So getting back to it. And then, I don't know, I think there's something, like my peak training starts from weeks 9 to like 13. There's something exciting knowing that the top of the mountain is coming, like as far as challenge goes and pressure goes, and really seeing if I can put myself up to the test. And really, because today 3 sets of 20 minutes at gold marathon pace was really rough, and I really want to be able to develop the skills and the endurance to push myself to be comfortable at gold marathon pace and faster. So I think 2 days ago, when I did my short runs, I was not motivated at all. But now, as I reflect on the first half of training, I am more motivated than ever to continue and to push myself. I think the fact that I'm still here is a good reminder of my persistence, and more of a reason to keep going. If I got here now, if you're going, as Lex Friedman would say, if you're going to try, go all the way.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way.
So, yeah, I think I have a lot to look forward to and a lot to grow still. Job's not done, job's not finished.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Kobe Bryant. And, yeah, I think that'll do it for today's reflection. And on to the third phase of training.
You are the motherfucking shit. You are great. You are magnificent. You can do whatever you want to do in this world. Get up, get out, get motivated, get inspired, get your motherfucking shine on today, because you can. You are number one. I don't know no 2 or 3, but I know you that one. Period. Don't let nobody, nothing distract you from the grind time, prime time. It's your time right now. Do whatever it is you need to do. What you say? You was gonna give up. Bitch, you wasn't finna give nothing up. You was finna keep striving, keep pushing, keep working, and keep doing your shit. You are great. It's nothing but success in your future.